Hello, everyone. I'm actually studying engineering management, but I am focusing on environmental engineering. But thank you regardless for the introduction. I'd like to start by reading one of my favorite poems written by Brian Andreas. Once, there was a girl who wanted to change the world. And at first, she thought it'd be easy, because if everyone could see how beautiful it'd be, it'd take about a minute. But all the people that she talked to were too busy to stop and listen. And so she went off and did beautiful things all on her own. And pretty soon, people were asking if they could come along and do those things too. And that is how she figured out how worlds change. I'm very fortunate to have grown up right here in Vermont. All of my childhood was spent outdoors, whether it was sailing on Lake Champlain, hiking in the Green Mountains, standing in freezing cold rivers while fly fishing, and of course, skiing. All of these things made me who I am today, and I have enjoyed every single one of them. I would describe my childhood as being quite magical. One of my earliest memories of living in Vermont was when I was 5 years old and I was attending the fair for the first time. I absolutely loved looking at all of the farm animals. They were so cute and I loved them. But when we got to the tractor pull competition, I was appalled. I don't even think I knew what the word exhaust meant, but I saw this black smoke and I thought, oh gosh, that is horrible. So I turned to my parents and I said, what about the birds? This is dreadful. Are they going to be okay? Are they going to be able to survive? It led to a rather long conversation about how pollutants tend to dissipate, especially when it's just in a small concentrated area, but it didn't change it for me. I still felt like this was a useless thing that we really didn't need to have happen. When I was a little bit older, so in 8th grade, we were asked to do a project that could benefit our community. And I didn't really know what to do. I thought there's a lot of things I could work on, a lot of things I could change, but it was just after the southeastern states in the United States had been hit by Hurricane Irma. And I felt, well, they need help a lot more than we do. So I set a small goal of raising $250 to give to the American Red Cross. I ended up raising over $1,200, and that completely changed my outlook on my personal community. What I found through tabling at farmers markets was that the people in my community, both young and old, really wanted to help. They just didn't know how. And they needed someone to stand up and offer them an avenue, and then it would be easy for them. Not much longer later, I was in high school and I had my English professor literally pull me in to our first Environmental Action Club meeting, and I wasn't really sure if I belonged there. I had never really considered myself an environmental activist, and I wasn't sure if it was for me. I stayed because I love the outdoors, so of course I wanted to protect it, but it really changed for me when I became a leader in the club. I had never been in a leadership role before, so for the first 6 months I kind of took it easy and followed the rules and events and guidance of the leaders who were older than me. And then the pandemic happened, and we were left not knowing what to do. Talking about action on a remote meeting is really not very fun. So I decided that we should host something called a speaker series, where we invited local members of our community to come in and talk to us about their paths to environmental change. And it turned out to be a huge hit. People were really passionate and excited to talk to us about what they had learned, about their different paths. And students were really excited to be able to learn more about what happens after you graduate. one of the biggest things that we learned in our conversations after the events was that you don't have to be a climatologist or a scientist or an engineer to make change. As long as you have passion and you care, you can make that change. Given that the speaker series was such a hit, I was eventually asked to give a speech at a county-wide event that was being held in honor of the electric school buses. And I had assumed that it was going to be teachers and maybe a few students. It ended up being the governor of Vermont, Phil Scott, and the Vermont media. And I will be honest, I kind of blacked out during the speech. I don't remember anything. But I do remember when I was finally done talking and I was able to take a step back, being amazed that student-led action could have such a profound impact and truly make changes that would affect all of Vermont. The ripple effect of change is broad, truly like throwing a rock into the river and watching it ripple out. I like to think that everything that has happened to me has created a ripple effect in my life, and that the small acts that I have done have created a ripple effect in other people's lives. And that is how I figured out how worlds change. Thank you all very much for spending your Sunday night here. It's been an honor.